Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Simply Ignited UPSC BPSC. And as usual we are doing the Hindu Delhi edition today, and we'll be first identifying the most important news, and it would obviously be followed by a detailed discussion. So without wasting any time, let's move further. So duty timings of DGCA, issue new norms, fine not required, jumbo darted, Palakkad revealed that elephant that we read 2 days ago has been now tranquilized, and it has had many encounters with humans, so in the Palakkad region, so it is relieved now. Okay. And math skills in West South India dip, okay not required. India blows out of Hockey World Cup. Okay, so India is out, right? Fine. So India won't be winning in India. Now this debate is going on about the powers of Supreme Court and basic structure doctrine. We have to see how this unfolds. Means law minister is at loggerhead with the court. We have to see how it unfolds. But just know this thing: basic structure doctrine and powers of Supreme Court. Okay. Exim data revised, trade deficit narrows by 10 billion. Okay. Not required. Fine. There is nothing here. Okay, there is nothing here. No, nothing here. Done. And then we have this page. I don't think there would be anything. In most of the time there is nothing on these pages. Okay. Fine. There is nothing here. There's nothing here. Okay, we have to see this changing politics, incompatible governors. So it is on governor. We have to see what it has written. Fine. Necessary pushback. Center should stop seeing judicial appointment as awards for loyalty. Okay, we'll do this also because it is a article against center's stance. So we must know this also. A reminder of flaws in India's urbanization policies. Okay, this is very important. Urbanization is a very important topic. The election buggle. BJP will continue its experiment with regional parties in Northeast. Not required. It's time for India University to join the world. Okay, we can do this. Okay. Not. Dragon tightens its grip. 2022 India imports from China touched a record high while export fell to a 5-year low. The imbalance has further widened the trade deficit. Electrical machinery and mechanical appliances were the most imported goods from China. India's dependency on China for such goods has remained high for quite some time now. Okay, so fine. We don't have to do this. Just know these things, that these things are there, right? A lesson from China on gig and platform workers, right? Maybe we can do this. Yes, we should do this. Okay, so we'll do this very briefly. That what is their policy of regarding this? NIA inspect blast site in Jammu. Security beefed up for Republic Day and Yatra, right? There is okay. There is nothing here. Okay. There is nothing here. Okay. Fine. There is nothing here. Economy at risk from move to clean energy. You can read it if you want, but again the thing is, this is just the information. For the time being it will change, right? So no economy page today. Now let's see the world page. uh, Nothing here. Okay, and on the sports page we are there on the sports page. Okay, fine. So yes, we are done with identifying the most important news, right? Now let's go on and analyze the same. Fine. So there was nothing on this page, neither on these pages. Now let's see the editorial directly. Changing politics, incompatible governors. Okay. So first read the caption. While the constitutional reasoning that, let me first take the pen, proper color. Okay, while the constitutional reasoning that resulted in institution of governor may still hold good today, okay, the metamorphosis of India in Indian politics calls for transformed gubernatorial functioning. Okay, so it is saying that the logic behind the post of governor holds good today, still holds good today, but there is a need for transforming the governor's functioning vis-a-vis today's reality, right? Now let's see. The governor are once again becoming public spectacles in many states, as seen in Punjab, Maharashtra, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, etc., and in few other earlier. Three issues stand out in their grand standing with the elected government in the states in question. First, there are states where non-BJP governments are in power. The first issue is what? Non-BJP government in power. Second, the contrarian interventions of governor in the name of supposed power of union or constitutional rectitude. And third, their disagreement spill out in open to the media, reinforcing a political divide. Recently, the governor of Tamil Nadu, R.N. Ravi, seems to have opened another front, that is, defining the idea of Indian nationalism and imparting lessons to Tamil people. Fortunately, there are few governors, even under non-BJP regimes in the state, who have shown sagacity of sorting out issues with their respective government without attempting to muddy the water. While there has been endless argument on whether the governor enjoys discretionary authority or not, and if he does, under what constitutional and legal provisions, they may not be able to clinch the argument, okay, on the issue, as they do not necessarily rule out the contrarian stances. One of the example of populist posturing is to play the blame game and accuse the other party of doing the same. Fine. While such charges may be factually correct or close to the charge, bad precedents may not be good example. This is very important thing. Okay, to imitate these charges also do not take into account the greater churning that Indian polity has undergone over the years and challenges that institution confronts to remain abreast with time. Sea changes in the state. The arena of relative autonomy of state underwent a decisive turn from late 1980s without formally altering the constitutional frame very much. This transformation was manifested in rise of new political parties with their focus on state, liberalization of economy, and greater devolution of economic responsibility to the state. States were made to realize that they could not pass on this responsibility to someone else. The shift of power and responsibility was reflected in policy measures such as 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act authorizing local government, inclusion and devolution of power, reform initiated by P.V. Narasimha Rao Manmohan Singh team on economy, and judicial verdicts such as Bommai case, and that mandated the invocation of president rule in states called for wider political consensus. Admittedly, relative autonomy of the state has enhanced their presence as well as responsibilities. This enhanced role of state does not in any way challenge union power, but generally tends to complement and supplement the new challenges and opportunities that it faces. The fear of centripetal tendencies that marked the early years of independence no more holds good as far as broad expanses of India are concerned. Atal Bihari Vajpayee detected this in detected this early shift early and made remarkable attempt at coalition building. that reflected much sensitivity to new roles that states were called upon to play. The initiative was also an acceptance of strong regional leadership in general and regional parties in particular. Strong states were not seen as affront to national unity, but latter itself was conceptualized as being forced through the robust regional bond. In fact, Vajpayee political initiative were not required. While the rise of BJP and its shift to Hindutva as its ideological plank from 2014 onwards have affected the re-articulation of Indian federalism, the groundswell that led to appreciation of state autonomy continues to persist even today. Sound reasoning iterates loud and clear that states cannot be cordoned off within the boundaries of the fiat of the center any longer. Okay. To be in sorry. Yeah, here we have. Center should try to outshine it by promising to do better. Interestingly, India's constitutional frame and particularly its interpretation by judiciary hereto has been seen in synchrony with the shift in political arena. Reality check. In the changed context, governor assuming that they know better than elected state leadership goes against a reality check and may not even serve the interest of ruling party at the center. If they invoke constitutional provisions in defense of their actions, such as reading, often turns out to be shibboleth. While the constitutional reasoning that resulted in institution of governor in India may still hold good today, it calls for a reorientation. As the constitutional head of the state, there are innumerable concerns, particularly the DPSPs, that could be framed of conversation of the governor with his government. Such a conversation, however, needs to be in form of an engagement with his government and the state legislature rather than meant to project him as an independent power center. The changed context also calls for listening to closely following public voices deliberating reasoning in the state and elsewhere rather than harping on the constitutional status. Moreover, as the link between his state and center, the governor brings wider concerns and promises to the states to attention of the center as well as public at large, which partisan politics may tend to sidestep. To be in tune with these demands, governors should not merely have their ears on the ground, but also attuned to embed the idea of common good manifest in the institutions and public culture. In the countries such as India, it is not difficult to find such person. It is handy to have these in position elderly politicians who are surplus in ruling the dispensation or retired bureaucrats, etc., etc., etc. Although criticized for some of his administrative preferences in the political views of one governor who I recall who measured up to the mark to change the context was T.N. Chaturvedi, governor of Karnataka, during difficult period changed government both in the state as well as center. Okay. Fine, so it is an article on gubernatorial powers that need transformation. Now let me give you a brief understanding of this. So what happens? Wait a minute, just wait a minute. Yeah, now it's good. So what actually happens is governor. Okay, what is governor? Governor has a dual role. Okay, and what is the dual role? He is the de jure head of state and agent of center. Why? This is, you understand why it is de jure head of the state, because it is the highest executive of the state. And how is it the agent of center? Because it is appointed by center and is subject to what? President's pleasure doctrine. Fine. Now what happens? That three things are there on which controversy is there. Okay, controversy regarding gubernatorial position is about three things: appointment, okay, removal, okay, and the third thing is discretionary. Okay, let's take a discretionary power. Others are constitutionally mandated, right? Discretionary and ARY powers. Okay, especially under Article 356, 163 clause 2, and we have that 75 5, 6, 7. 76 plus 89. Okay. This thing 89 or 90, I don't remember exactly. This is regarding, this power is regarding the president's rule. Okay. This power is discretionary power, which is of two types, constitutional and situational. And this is regarding Council of Ministers advice. Okay, these are the most debated one. There are other also, and yes, one more is there, Article 201. Okay, reservation of bill for president's assent. Right. So what happens that now we'll discuss one by one all of these. Therefore, I read the article directly and not tried to explain you there because it was irrelevant at that point of time. What is the challenge with appointment? So, no voice of state in appointing their own representative, means own leader or de jure head, own head, right? And second is that center appoints him, right, or her. Okay, so this is the main controversy, that the head of the state is not elected by the states. Okay, so what is the fine? So what is the solution? Punshi Commission and Sarkaria Commission recommendations are there. I'll make them both together, right? There are 6-7 recommendations regarding that. Governor should be an eminent person, right? Should not be from the state concerned. Okay. Third is COM, Council of Ministers, should have their say in appointment of governor. Fourth is governor should not be a politically active person in last 2 years, and there are some more here and there, small, right? So this is the solution that has been proposed by Punshi and Sarkaria Commission, right? Now, as far as this is concerned, CM advice in some Singh case, Supreme Court has already said that governor is bound by, okay, aid and advice of COM, right? For president's rule, there is my judgment. You already know the judgment. If you don't know, then you have to read the Lakshmikant for this, because it is a very important judgment. It is like basic structure. It not as important as that, but it is also important. And as far as discretionary powers are concerned, basically situational powers are under this thing. Okay, like okay, reservation of bill. Let me tell you this also. So there are provisions. Okay, and these needs to be specified plus objectified. Okay, that under so and so situation, objectified. Okay, under so and so situation only the bill can be reserved. Similarly, situational is generally related to veto, pocket veto. Okay, pocket veto plus CM, what we say, appointment. Okay, so it should be Punshi Commission and Sarkaria Commission says that these should be guided by reason. The use of such power should be guided by reason and should be constrained by the situations. It is worded like this only. Okay, so you got the gist of that thing, and now go and read Lakshmikant. You will understand the entire concept. I think it was page number 7. No, page number 8. Okay, now let's see this thing. Necessary pushback. The center should stop seeing judicial appointment as rewards for loyalists. The Supreme Court Collegium has done well to push back against the Union government attempt to block the appointment of some of the advocate as High Court judges. The 3-member Collegium, which makes recommendation for High Court appointments, has reiterated its decision to elevate lawyer Saurav Kirpal to the Delhi High Court, R. John Satyam to Madras High Court, and Shekhar Sundaram to Bombay High Court, as it dealt in details with the objection raised by the centre in each individual case. The motives behind the government ongoing contestant with the judiciary over appointment to the constitutional court stand exposed. The communication between the collegium and the centre offers a glimpse into untenable nature of the government's objection to propose appointment, making it evidently clear how badly the current regime wants to control judicial appointment. If the objection based on candidates' sexual orientation smacks of a medieval minded ideological bias, the effort to stall the elevation of a couple of advocates based on their social media activity exposed the mindset that sees appointment to the higher judiciary system of spoils meant for political loyalists. As the collegium has pointed out, neither the sexual orientation of Mr. Kirpal nor the adding of political views by other two advocates will impinge on their sustainability or integrity. The government appears to think that potential candidates for judicial appointment should not have any political view of their own, or that a tendency to make their view or opinion known will amount to possible bias of their functioning as judges. Nothing can disapprove this more than the fact that there are other names to which the government seems to have no objections that are closely associated with the political party. Indeed, one can say that the history of judicial appointment is replete with instances from government law officers who invariably enjoy the confidence of political leadership at center or the state, and the lawyers who represent the political leaders being offered position to on the both Supreme Court and High Court benches. Okay, fine. The viewpoints of collegium system appointment is flawed as it opaques the tenure. Okay, fine. This will go on until and unless either government will control the judiciary or judiciary controls the government. This is a common thing. Why? Because the center is gaining power day by day, right? So when and as center gains power, it will try to subsume judiciary. This is a common thing in any democracy. Look, means a legislature, executive, judiciary. When center was weak, so this thing was weak, so judiciary came in this domain via doctrine of basic structure. Now center is strong, so the center is trying to enter judiciary realm via what we say, via cutting off, via destroying. Destroying is a very heavy word. I'm not getting the word. Destroying collegium system, okay, or reforming collegium system. That would be better word. Reforming collegium system. Okay, so you got this. So this is the explanation for this. This will go on until and unless one becomes weak enough to be taken over, right? Okay, a reminder of flaws in India's urbanization policies. First, let's read the caption. A recent report on urban financing for India is another case of a top-down approach, that is over dependence on technocentric solutions and capital intensive technologies. So two things are there: over dependence on what? Technocentric solutions and capital intensive technologies. A report by World Bank released in November last year on financing India's urban infrastructure. It focuses on private investment ameliorating urban problems. The push to attract private capital since 1990s follows by urban reform under UPA one regime, the Smart City Mission, and now the report continues to plague India's policy paradigm in urban sectors. So, has the reform process really been able to attract private capital to urban infrastructure? After 3 decades of reform, urban finance predominantly comes from the government. Of the finances needed to fund urban capital expenditure, 48%, 24%, 15% are derived from central, state and city government. Public power are not required. In last few years, various reports have estimated a huge demand for funding urban infrastructure. For example, ISA Judge Aluwalia report says 2030 nearly 39.2 lakh crore would be required, and all those things are there. These are just figures. Okay, let's go on to the base. The World Bank estimates about 840 billion would be needed to invest in the urban India to meet the growing demands of population. The flagship programs of the government like Smart City Mission, Amrut Mission, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana are not more than 2 lakh crores. That too up for a period of 5 years. So how will such a gap between demand and supply? The supply demand is about 840 billion, 70 lakh crores demand, and supply is just 2 lakh crores. So how will this gap be fulfilled, right? Let's see. The core idea of the report and the solutions suggested including improving the fiscal base and credit worthiness of Indian cities. must institute a violent revenue bias and be able to recover the cost providing its services. In simpler terms, it means increasing property taxes, user fees, etc. Right? The report already points out that nearly 85% of government revenue is from cities. This means the urban citizens are contributing large revenues, even as the World Bank report emphasizes on levying more burdens in form of user charge, utility, etc. But the point is, even by embracing the tax base, it will not be sufficient to meet the rising demand of urban infrastructure in city. Finding alternative part. The basic problem with the report and the other report drawn upon similar fashion is that they are made using top to bottom approach with too much focus on technology solution using very high capital intensive technology. For urban context, plan must be made from below. Okay, engaging with people and identifying their needs, empowering the city government and the people at large is second point. Okay, in the national task force that revived 74 constitutional amendment chaired by KC Sri Ramakrishnan, many suggestions were made, such as empowering people, transferring subjects to the city government. So what was the suggestion? Empowering people, transferring subjects to the city government, suggesting that 10% of income tax collected from city be given back to them and ensure that this corpus fund was utilized only for infrastructure building. This would ensure that city government had an advantage in ensuring rapid transformation. Another important aspect of urban infrastructure is linked to urban governance, which is in shambles. Regular elections should be held in cities, and there must be empowerment through transferring of three Fs: finance, functions, and functionaries. City primarily are run by parastatals, and city government are hardly having any role to play in the smooth functioning of such parastatals. World Bank report in its World Bank in its report has stated that, and as an example, state level management of urban water and sewerage functions may be devolved in a time bound manner. An improved urban legal framework that includes a stable and certain fiscal transfer regime accords financial power to ULBs, etc. etc. Right, you just give it a read. The Shimla example, this may be a case study. However, the exact opposite is happening. The Shimla water story is an example. The Shimla Water Works was transferred into a single utility in 1617 called the Greater Shimla Water Supply and Sewerage Circle. Under Shimla Municipal Corporation, the bank rendered help in form of soft loan, ensuring adequate supply of water and proper distribution by utility. But under Shimla Municipal Corporation, however, in 1718, it changed the character of Greater Shimla Water, this thing, right, to a company and formed the Shimla Jal Prabandhan Nigam Limited, now run under a board of directors but outside the ambit of municipality. Such mechanism shall not serve purpose and will be perilous to the entire purpose of the urbanization in India. The World Bank report is another reminder trajectory of Indian urbanization witnessing policy paralysis from the top. Okay, so I'll just give you a brief understanding of this thing, right? Let's go to this page. Look, urbanization, okay, should be seen at two fronts. The first front in city as an area, and second is city in an area. Okay, now for this, smart city mission is there. Okay, and for this we have Amrut mission, and all other missions are complementary to these missions, right? So what happens, city as an area means the city should be developed individually, and here the city should be developed means after individual development they should be developed in such a way that they are connected to one another, right? Okay, so if urbanization has to be more accountable and better recorded, okay, and not haphazard, what we need to develop city as an area and city in an area, fine. But what is the challenge? The challenge is, what is the challenge? The major challenge is that has always been three things: policy paralysis, this is one of the challenge. The second, especially, let me write it down, from top. Why? because the top mechanism of any policy making is not directly related to the people, so there is always a lag between what people want and what people gets, right? Second is implementational cholesterol, right? And this is due to what? This is due to price. And what is the full form of price? Oh, I should not have done this. Okay. P is again policy paralysis that I've already mentioned. Okay. R is red tapeism. C is crime rate, increase, decreased, EODB, and I is your that same thing, implementation null challenges, right? So these are the thing. Okay, and the third thing, which is a challenge, lack of what we say, lack of citizenry participation from citizens. Okay, now these are the three main challenges. So policy paralysis is at level of policy, that is more or less government level. Implementational cholesterol is more bureaucratic in nature, and this is more citizenry nature. Okay, so under these broad framework you have to understand urbanization. Now if you have to write the challenges of urbanization, so you have a broad framework here. Now you arrange your ideas in this framework and you'll get a very good answer and understanding of how urbanization should be tackled with, right? So we'll go to the next article because it's a long read today. Okay, it's time for Indian universities to join the world. Let's read the caption. Opening to the world means making India more visible on global academic scene, and also learning about and implementing best practices from abroad. It has given the entire article here. Okay, you give it a read, you will understand. This is the gist of this article. No need to read it because the same article gets on repeating every now and then, that India should join the world universities and it should be visible and all those things are there. So just give it a read, you'll understand. If you don't understand, give me a comment. I'll make a separate video for this. Okay, lessons from China's gig and platform worker right. The swell of public opinion in China has enabled government regulation and changes in the company policy. Indians should also make effort to do better, to be better informed about the way this platform works. Again, the entire gist is given here. We'll read the Indian context section. The situation is vastly different in India. Any reforms in this sector is led wholly by delivery workers and not public. For 27 days in 2020, close to 3,000 delivery workers from Swiggy went on strike in Hyderabad to protest the slash in remuneration from 13 to 15 per order. Oh my god, 35 to 15 per order. The strike disbanded only after the Joint Commissioner of Labour Department called hearing with the platform owner, manager, etc. It was the time in India that such negotiation was taking place, that too on the street this year, that led to Zomato's July IPO. Several anonymous Twitter accounts set up by the delivery worker called customer attention to what they deemed exploitative practices employed by the platform. The PIL in Supreme Court is another major step in this regard. The biggest lesson from China is swell of public opinion that has partly led to government regulation change in company policy. In US, gig worker collectively urged customer to delete the Instacart app as a show of solidarity until demands for better working conditions are met. Indian could make an effort to be better informed about way the platform work by seeking out delivery workers and asking about their work condition and pressure they face. We will then be aware of the price that person who we only see as a miniature bike on our app pays on our convenience. Okay, so fine. So the increase awareness, increase knowledge about two things. Working of platform means the algorithm, and second is your working of platform is one thing, and what is the second? Working conditions of gig workers, right? And you know that working conditions is a part of DPSP. Okay, so you can relate it with DPSP directly. Fine. Human, just and human working conditions clause. Okay. So let's see if anything else is left. I don't think anything else is left. Okay. So fine, we are done with today's newspaper analysis. I hope you like it. Okay. So if you like it, consider subscribing the channel, liking the content, sharing, and don't forget to comment. Okay, whatever you feel like missing in the article, or you need more explanation for something, then you must comment. Okay, with this I'm taking a leave from you now. Study hard and Jai Hind.